of finding a different way to explain, not to you, but to so many people, on why what is being said is so wrong.
Right.
I've walked into institutions as the only person of colour and experienced covert and overt racism on so many occasions. And why the Meghan interview really resonates with me is because an ex-work colleague, not of this show, asked me if I was worried about the shade of cocoa that my son was going to come out.
Right.
So I fully understand the hurt that is behind all of that.
Right. Let me ask...
And when you're mixed race, what you find, in my personal experience, and there may be other people that may come forward and say this, is that when you are a lighter shade of black, people gain confidence and feel that they can say things to you that they wouldn't say to a black person.
That's such an interesting point.
And that is my experience of all of this.
Right. And by the way, I completely respect that, right? And that's why I wanted to get you on the programme today. It was my suggestion to have you on to talk about this.
But Piers,
right?
And thank you so much for having me on the programme. I really appreciate it. But I just want you also to be aware of the power of your words. And I'm not saying that you're a racist, but what are you saying? Do you know what I honestly feel? I feel as though, because of your previous relationship with Meghan Markle, you've sometimes... I
didn't have a relationship with Meghan Markle.
But you met up with her, you knew her...
I knew her briefly.
Right, so we've joked about it on the show.
All that did was... So I'm allowed to speak.
OK, talk.
All that did was inform me that she's a bit of a cut and run.
Right.
Right, throughout her life, and all her family, her father... Yes. Her ex-husband, her ex-friends, they've all been cut out of her life, right? And it's an interesting observation that I happen to be one of those people.
An interesting observation, but I do feel
can I finish
this situation that you are struggling...
Guys, if we're going to have this conversation...
You've got to let me talk.
Talk.
Right. Can we talk about the programme? It doesn't really matter what I think of Meghan Markle. It doesn't matter whether I believe her or not. What matters is the damage that she is accused of doing to the royal family. And let me ask you honestly, on the issue of race, she has now got the whole of America and the worst of the world, frankly, looking upon the palace, the monarchy, the Queen, everyone in the royal family as a bunch of racists. And it all comes down to two things that she said in the interview. One is something she didn't hear, but Harry reported back to her, that a senior member of the royal family that wasn't the Queen or Prince Philip, so presumably is either Charles or William, we would hazard a guess, has made a comment to Harry about what colour skin his baby may be if the relationship progresses.
OK, but there was concern about the way in which that question was asked.
That's my question for you. She said there was concern. Harry didn't say that. And my question for you is this, and it's a straight question I think a lot of people are asking. Because you've been in this position, right? And you've been equally offended.
On the receiving end of that
question. Is there a qualitative difference between somebody perhaps innocently saying to you, out of interest, if you have one parent is white, one parent is black, you know, what colour could your baby be? Let me finish. What colour could your baby be? Is there a difference between that question phrased in that innocent, perhaps, way, and somebody doing it in a tone that says, well, how dark is your baby going to be? Well, I think, in a derogatory, perhaps racist tone?
Exactly, and there is a difference. But what we're getting from the interview is that it was said in a negative way.
She said that, but he didn't, did he?
Listen, stop separating Harry and Meghan. They are a team, quite clearly, a very strong team. And I do believe that she backs him up and he backs her up.
Right.
So, and like I said, tone and language is everything.
But is there a difference?
When it was said to me, the key word was, are you worried?
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay?
But that to me is racist.
And there's a big difference.
That to me is racist.
But that's what she
reports.
It is
racist. Do you think it's racist? It's a legitimate question many people have asked. Is it racist, do you think, if, for argument's sake, it was William or Charles? Let's not put a name to this person. We don't know. And part of the problem, and I know you agree with me about this, it'd be easier if they just said who it was.
Right.
Right? I'll come to that. But is there a difference? If it was said, perhaps in all innocence, right, and they just said, oh, what colour baby might you have, without any suggestion of it being a concern or a worry if it had darker skin, would that in itself, would just the question be racist?
That in itself is fine, but you have to think about how it feels on the receiving end, because what we're speculating is as to how that message...
I don't know how it was communicated.
Right,
but what I would say to you is, if it was done as a worry or concern...
We also have to take into consideration how it felt. The other thing that we also have to think about, and I've publicly said this on Twitter, Piers. I agree with you now that I feel that they should have named the person, because all it's led to is all of us asking loads of questions. And I personally am looking at the royal family as to which one could
Who's
it be?
the racist, yeah.
Who's the racist? But again, we have to also just take a step back. Do you know how much courage it takes to actually speak about racism, to actually call it out? Because I've been in situations where I haven't called out every single bit of racism that's happened to me based on how I've been treated or how it was handled in the past.
Because you're worried about a backlash.
And you're also worried about a backlash. And there will be people that will treat Harry and Meghan differently because they've spoken out.
OK.
But this is the whole thing. We've got to get comfortable talking about the uncomfortable. And that's why it's important for me and you to have this conversation.
Fine, but let's just not make it personal. It's fine.
It's not...
You made it personal. But let's move on
from
that.
It's hard because,
Alex...
you know what, we talk personally about, you know, people on this show, and we give our opinions on them, don't we? So actually, sometimes it does come back at you. We have to be, you know...
It's fine. It's just the way it was done. We can disagree about that. Let's move on. Well, it's fine. I don't think people really care too much about you and me anymore. It's
not about me and you, and I'm not here because...
Well, let's not talk about me and you then. Let's move on to the second part of their charge of racism. Meghan Markle said that there was a decision taken by the palace to stop Archie being a prince based on his potential skin colour. That is completely untrue. That's just not true. Now, the damaging effect of that, plus whatever may have been said to Harry, and we don't know what it was or the context, and we don't know who said it, but it was those two things have detonated, as you know, a racially charged bomb at the palace, which is almost impossible for them to refute because they don't talk in public about this kind of thing, and people aren't probably going to believe them even if they do now. But that's what concerns me, is that the first part of that allegation, we don't know any of the details or who said it or how they said it, and the second one is completely untrue. Meghan just got it wrong. Archie hasn't been prevented from being a prince because of his skin colour. And that's been now believed by Americans on national television there. And that is damaging.
But again, do you know what? It's their lived experience. And...
No, it's not true.
Well, look, Piers, it's their lived experience. And again, this is where the confusion comes in. You know, how do you sometimes identify covert racism? It's actually quite hard because it's not there for
But
you.
Alex, on that one, it's not true.
I know,
There's no covert racism.
But Piers, what you're saying is there are facts.
Right.
And what Alex is saying is there is an experience and a perception of those facts that you only appreciate when you're in that situation.
No, I'm sorry. On that second part, on the first part, I agree. If it turns out, let me make it crystal clear where I stand on this. If it turns out that a senior member of the royal family, a future king perhaps of this country, we don't know who it is. I don't want to cast... The aspersions are being cast because they won't say. But they have eliminated the Queen and Prince Philip. So they've gone halfway, which I think is incredibly unfair on the ones who are left. But say it is a future king that said this in a derogatory way. We can't have a racist king.
We can't.
So that, to me, would be racism. If it was said derogatory... But the second part of the charge, that Archie has been banned from being a prince because of his skin colour, is just untrue. It's nothing to do with racism. The fact itself on which she's based that claim is not true.
Except her perception appears to be that it might have been...
Well, it's like me saying the sky's blue outside. My perception is it's raining. You can't muck around with facts. She got the facts wrong on that. It's been demonstrated today in every paper. That fact is simply untrue. There's been no discrimination against Archie in terms of being called a prince because of his skin colour, because he's not entitled at the moment to be called a prince. Just the rules of the palace, set 100 years ago.
The trouble is she's explaining her experience.
Exactly, she's explaining her experience of it. And do you know what? We've not walked in her shoes, so I wouldn't...
I don't care what your experience is, if the facts you're basing it on is wrong.
You're still entitled to perception. You know,
not about a fact or not.
And that's also coming through lived experience.
But Alex, on that one, you're not entitled to... I don't care about her feelings if the fact is wrong.
What concerns me more is the comment about the colour of the baby's skin.
Right.
OK? We all feel passionate about different things. Yeah. OK? You know, we've not even, spoken about the mental health and all of that.
Well, we're coming to that.
Well, we'll come to that. But, you know, it's really important that we have these conversations, because what I've noticed on Twitter, particularly over the last few days, is that this interview and what's happening with the royal family, the ripple effect is huge.
Huge.
To the point where me and you are on here, we feel so passionately about it, and it's great.
I genuinely feel...
And I want to talk about it, and I do feel as though, you know, yeah, of course, if we find out who it is, I'm sure, you know, you will be right behind me, and I'll be right behind you, yeah, you know, talking about how wrong it is and how, you know...
No question.
No question whatsoever. But what I find is that people are, you know, don't always want to accept that it's a...
The aftermath of Prince Harry and Meghan's bombshell accusations of racism within the royal family erupted into a heated on-air clash between media personalities Piers Morgan and Alex Beresford. Piers, a vocal critic of the Duchess, fiercely refuted the claims, dismissing them as absolutely disgraceful slurs. In a tense exchange, Beresford, who is of mixed racial heritage, challenged Piers' unwavering defense of the monarchy, arguing that the couple's experiences deserved empathy and a more nuanced discussion around issues of race and privilege. The clash escalated as Piers stormed off the set, further inflaming the debate and sparking widespread discussion around the complexities of racism, the power dynamics within the royal institution, and the responsibilities of the media in navigating such sensitive topics. Piers Morgan's fiery clash with Meghan supporters. Piers Morgan, the outspoken television personality, wasted no time in vehemently criticizing Prince Harry and Meghan's accusations of racism within the British royal family. Doubling down on his defense of the monarchy, Morgan dismissed the couple's claims as unfounded, accusing Meghan of deliberately lying and manipulating the public. His brash comments ignited a firestorm of backlash from Meghan's supporters, who condemned Morgan's unwavering loyalty to the royals and his apparent dismissal of the Duchess's personal experiences. The heated exchange laid bare the deep divisions over the high-profile rift between the Sussexes and the institution they once represented, with Morgan steadfastly rejecting any notion of systemic racism within the palace walls. Alex Beresford's rebuttal. In a powerful moment on live television, Alex Beresford, a black broadcaster, pushed back against Piers Morgan's dismissive and insensitive response to Prince Harry and Meghan's accusations of racism within the royal family. Beresford argued that Morgan's reaction was emblematic of a broader lack of understanding about the lived experiences of people of color. He emphasized the critical importance of truly listening to and validating the experiences of marginalized individuals, rather than reflexively rejecting or minimizing their concerns. Beresford's compassionate yet firm rebuttal highlighted the need for greater empathy, nuance and self-reflection when discussing issues of race and privilege, especially within institutions that have historically been dominated by the white elite. His willingness to challenge a colleague's biases on a public platform demonstrated the power of using one's voice to advocate for meaningful change. The clash of perspectives. The heated exchange between Piers Morgan and Alex Beresford on live television quickly ignited a firestorm of debate around the media's coverage of the royal family's controversies. As Piers firmly reiterated his long-standing skepticism towards Meghan Markle's claims of racism within the palace, Alex intervened to challenge Piers's dismissive stance, arguing that a more empathetic and nuanced approach was warranted. The tense clash of perspectives laid bare the deep divisions and strong emotions surrounding the royal family's scandals, with Piers' abrupt departure from the set underscoring the volatility of the situation. This incident has prompted wider discussions about the media's role in shaping public narratives, the importance of balanced reporting, and the need for greater sensitivity when addressing issues of race and mental health within the royal household. The aftermath of Piers Morgan's clash with Meghan Markle. Piers Morgan's controversial remarks about Meghan Markle's mental health struggles and accusations of racism within the royal family sparked immediate backlash across social media and among his colleagues. ITV, the network that aired his show Good Morning Britain, was inundated with viewer complaints, leading to a swift investigation into Morgan's conduct. Ultimately, the network announced that Piers Morgan had decided to leave his position, marking a dramatic end to his long-running tenure on the popular morning program. This turn of events underscored the serious consequences that can arise when public figures make insensitive and potentially harmful comments, even in the face of intense public scrutiny. The aftermath serves as a cautionary tale about the need for empathy, nuance, and responsibility when addressing sensitive issues, especially those involving mental health and structural racism. Piers Morgan and Alex Beresford's heated clash over Prince Harry and Meghan's racism allegations. The announcement from Buckingham Palace sent shockwaves through the media landscape as pundits and commentators rushed to weigh in on the sensitive issue. Piers Morgan, a vocal critic of the Duke and Duchess of Sussex, found himself embroiled in a heated on-air clash with his Good Morning Britain co-host, Alex Beresford. Morgan, known for his unapologetic stance against the couple, immediately dismissed the palace's statement as a mere public relations exercise, claiming that the royal family was simply attempting to sweep the allegations under the carpet. Beresford, however, took a more measured approach, acknowledging the gravity of the accusations and the importance of the palace's commitment to investigate the matter thoroughly. "This is a serious situation that deserves to be handled with care and sensitivity," Beresford argued, not dismissed as a PR stunt. The tension between the two men escalated as they debated the merits of the palace's response, with Beresford challenging Morgan's unwavering criticism of the Sussexes. The public divide over Piers Morgan and the royal family controversy. The clash between Piers Morgan and Prince Harry and Meghan's allegations of racism within the royal family sparked a flurry of debate and commentary across social media. Reactions were sharply divided, with some rallying behind Piers Morgan's staunch defense of the monarchy, while others ardently supported the Duke and Duchess of Sussex and their courageous stand against the perceived prejudices they faced. This heated public discourse highlighted the deep-rooted complexities surrounding the role of the media in shaping public perception of the royal family, as well as the broader societal tensions around issues of race, power, and the responsibility of public figures. As the debate raged on, it became clear that this controversy had touched a nerve, eliciting impassioned reactions that reflected the myriad perspectives and experiences that exist within the global community. The racial dynamics. The allegations made by Prince Harry and Meghan Markle regarding the British establishment's systemic racism and unconscious biases have shone a spotlight on the complex racial dynamics within the monarchy. As prominent people of color in the public eye, their experiences have highlighted the challenges faced by individuals from diverse backgrounds, navigating the often exclusive confines of the royal institution. This discussion has prompted a necessary examination of the deeply ingrained prejudices and barriers that continue to permeate even the highest echelons of British society, underscoring the urgent need for meaningful progress towards true equality and inclusion. The impact on the royal family. The ongoing controversy surrounding Meghan Markle's accusations of racism within the royal family has undoubtedly raised concerns about the long-term consequences for the monarchy's reputation. As the public discourse intensifies, there are growing debates around the need for the royal institution to more proactively address issues of diversity and inclusion. The royal family's perceived failure to swiftly and transparently respond to Meghan's claims has only served to further fuel the perception that the palace is out of touch with modern societal values. This episode has the potential to leave a lasting impact, prompting calls for the monarchy to undergo a critical self-examination and implement meaningful reforms to promote greater representation and accountability. The ongoing debate over race and privilege in the British royal family. The intense discussions surrounding Meghan and Harry's accusations of racism within the royal family have continued to rage on, sparking a complex and often divisive dialogue about the deeply rooted issues of race, power, and privilege in British society. Prominent public figures like Piers Morgan and Alex have become embroiled in the debate, trading barbs and accusations over the validity of the Sussexes' claims and the responsibility of the monarchy to address systemic biases. While some have rallied behind Meghan, calling for greater accountability and transparency from the royal household, others have staunchly defended the institution, dismissing the concerns as unfounded or exaggerated. This heated exchange has laid bare the stark divides and differing perspectives that exist, underscoring the urgent need for a more nuanced, empathetic, and solutions-oriented approach to confronting the legacies of colonialism and racism within the British establishment. the future of the royal media relationship. As the ongoing scrutiny and tension between the royal family and the media continue to dominate headlines, there are growing calls for a more nuanced and sensitive approach to reporting on the lives of these public figures. With the Duchess of Sussex's candid revelations about the challenges she faced within the institution, it has become clear that a radical shift in the royal media dynamic is necessary. Moving forward, experts speculate that the royal family will need to navigate this relationship with greater care, prioritizing the mental health and well-being of its members over the public's insatiable appetite for sensationalism. This may involve a more collaborative approach, where the royals work closely with the media to establish clear boundaries and expectations, ensuring that coverage is balanced, empathetic, and respectful. The future of this relationship will undoubtedly be shaped by the lessons learned from the recent controversy